This video will talk about how to use the adaptive curve feature on a Generation 4 display. If we would like to set up a new adaptive curve, we can simply go to Select Track. If we would like to begin a new adaptive curve, select New Track. Choose Curve Track and then Adaptive Curve. As with other guidance tracks, we have the ability to set up a unique name. If you do not change the name, it will simply name it Track 1, Track 2, and so on based on what's in the display. In this example, I'm going to use this on my end rows in the field. So I will name the track End Rows. It will assign it to whatever field is currently set up in the display. Go ahead and select OK. I am now ready to begin recording my curve. I have two options to set up my recording of the adaptive curve. In this case, we're currently set up for manual recording, which requires me to manually push the record button to begin recording the adaptive curve. I do have some other options. If I select Guidance, then go to the Advanced Guidance Settings arrow at the top, scroll down to my adaptive curve settings. My curve recording trigger is currently set up on manual, where I have to push the button to record. I have the ability as well to use auto track or work state. Work state works very well as it ties in with either your planner or your sprayer or whatever operation you're using for your documentation. So if you're spraying, for example, and you get to the corner of the field, instead of recording your turn, it will go ahead and shut off automatically if your spray is turned off. Work state is the preferred option in most cases. Go ahead and close out. Then we can see we are on our guidance screen. We can either stay here or close out to the run screen. You do have the ability to turn it on manually even if work state is selected. In this case, we cannot actually plant, so we're going to go ahead and use manual in this example. Once the recording is on, go ahead and begin driving to record your adaptive curve. If you would like to put a straight segment in your curve, you can go ahead and use the pause button. It will begin to draw a dotted line to designate an area that has been paused. Once the straight segment is complete, simply flip back over to record curve, and a straight line segment will be snapped into the whole adaptive curve. If using work state as your adaptive curve recording trigger, recording would turn off automatically when planning or spraying has been turned off. In this case, I will need to manually shut off. I can either end session if I am done recording adaptive curves for the whole field, or I can turn recording back on in a different area of the field. So an example like this, I may have two sets of end rows and I may have a separate curve on each end of the field and the larger adaptive curve. So that is one nice feature of adaptive curves, is I can have multiple curves within a larger adaptive curve. So I can have broken up sets of different tracks within the field. I'm going to go ahead and turn adaptive curve recording off, and if I'm done recording curve segments within the whole field, I can hit end session. In this case, I'm not going to end session quite yet. With 2630 displays, we have the ability to record tracks or enter repeat mode. There is no repeat mode checkbox on a Generation 4 display. When you choose end session, that designates to the display that you are finished recording the adaptive curve tracks and you are ready to repeat. So if I select end session, it's going to say all recorded curve segments are part of this single track. You can come back and edit later, but if we select OK, we will simply be able to auto track the adaptive curves that are already set up. As you can see, if I back up just a little bit here for illustration purposes, it will go ahead and let me engage auto track on the curve I just recorded. If I would like to continue using adaptive curves, recording additional segments, I can go to Set Track, select Edit, select Coordinates, and say Add Curve Track Segment. That will allow me to get back into recording mode and begin recording additional track segments as a part of the larger adaptive curve. It will also allow me to engage an auto track line adjacent to my existing recorder. Go up here to the end of the field. We'll turn to the left here and we'll begin to engage the previous curve or one pass adjacent to it. Notice my adaptive curve recording will stay on unless I manually shut off. I'm going to go ahead and make a slight adjustment of my track spacing here. So while in adaptive curve recording mode, the display will let me auto track based off the previous curve in the display. It will let me auto track on one side or the other. Limited here on the lot. Okay. So we can see here while I am in recording mode, you can see recording on, it's going to go ahead and let me start auto tracking based off of the first curve that I created. So if I would like to do that, simply engage auto track, and I can go ahead and begin auto tracking next to my original curve with recording still on, or I could shut off. So adaptive curve, while a recording is on, will allow you to auto track one pass adjacent to the original curve. So you can see this is our original curve, and it's letting me auto track one track next to that. If I come back over to my original track, it will not allow me to auto track the originally recorded track. You can only auto track passes one pass adjacent to the recorded curve while in recording mode. So if I go ahead and back up and get where that next curve would be, it goes ahead and allows me to turn auto track back on. So we are in the recording mode of adaptive curve, which only lets me auto track one pass to each side of the recorded curve. It doesn't actually let me auto track on the recorded curve. In order to auto track the previously recorded curves, I will need to end session, which turns recording off and allows me to auto track my existing recorded curves. So that populated track that was there while in recording mode is now gone. And then if I drive back over to my original recorded track, it will let me re-auto track. Adaptive curve is a very useful feature, but there's a lot that goes into setting up and utilizing it correctly. Once complete, I can go into set track, I can see my track, named in rows, and know that it's an adaptive curve based off of our icon. If I would set up a new track in the field that was a straight track, go back into set track, I can see if I would like to come back to that additional adaptive curve later on. You can go ahead and select it, hit OK. I also have the ability to use swap track as well.